Hey everybody, it's Rob the Backyard Gardener, and I think it's time to get you updated on my citrus trees that I've grown from seed, which are now over 45 months old. Let's take a look at these trees. So the first two citrus plants I want to show you are both of my lemon trees grown from seed. Now, as I've mentioned in previous clips, when you grow citrus plants from seed, typically and most often you will not get the same type of fruit because these have been either cross-pollinated or they're hybrids. So we're probably not going to get lemons, but we could. At the end of the day, these are the two plants that I have that have been grown from lemon seeds. So I want to give you a look at them. First, the big boy. This guy is now over 45 months old, 45 and a half months to be exact. And for those wondering if I have a chance of getting flowers this year, I have a slight chance. Typically when you grow citrus from seeds, it takes a minimum of 3 to 5 years to even get flowers. And of course, sometimes you may never get flowers. But he's doing pretty well, got a pretty strong trunk. This guy was brought under protection during the winter, and he's just now starting to get some new offshoots, as you can see. So he's just now starting to grow. He obviously has grown slowly, and for those that are unaware, citrus is one of the more slower growing plants you can grow from seed. It has taken me years to go from germination to a plant that's probably at this point 3 feet tall. Now I will tell you, I did prune this one last year to take this one off because it was really tall. But at the end of the day, his leaves don't look the best. He struggled a little bit because I didn't have him in a greenhouse or indoors. I did leave him on a patio, and he was subject to some cold temperatures, but it didn't kill him because he wasn't under direct frost at any point during the winter. That being said, last year's foliage, like I said, doesn't look the best, but the new foliage this year looks really healthy. Now you're probably saying, Rob, it's almost time for a new pot, and it is. For my next update, I will be getting all of my citrus trees grown from seed into larger pots, but for now, I just want to give you guys a quick update on how they're doing. Again, this is lemon tree number 1. Lemon tree number 2, I tried an experiment. I left this guy out in the frost to see how he would do. You can see pretty clearly he had all of his tips frozen and burned. But I wanted to see how cold it would get if it would kill this plant. And honestly, it didn't kill it. All it did was burn all the tips off. But you can see he is pretty resilient, and he's coming back right now, finally. Now I did this because I needed to know if I had to, no matter what, bring in my citrus under frost protection over the winter. That being said as well though, we had a pretty mild winter. We didn't have a lot of days with sub-freezing temperatures and a lot of nights with sub-freezing temperatures. So being a milder winter might have allowed this guy to escape death, if you will, at this point. I will definitely be more careful with this guy next year and put him under frost protection because I don't think he'll survive a regular winter out of here. He just happened to survive this winter. Now that you've seen both lemon trees that I've grown from seed, and they are the same age, frost protection, no frost protection, let me go ahead and put these back and grab my orange trees that I've grown from seed next. All right, so here are my 3 orange trees that I've grown from seed. This is tree number 1. I'm going to give you a quick look at all 3, and then we'll talk a little more about them. Orange tree number 2. And orange tree number 3. You can see these are pretty healthy. Again, the frost did do a little bit of damage to some of the leaves over the winter. As you can see here, that might even be some pests. But at the end of the day, under frost protection for our mild winter, these plants did just fine. Again, these are also right around 45 plus months, right around 45 and a half months. These were germinated 6/11 of 2017. So on June 11th this year, they will turn 3 years old. And again, a little bit of damage to the leaves. But the new growth has come in strong. The new leaves look really healthy. So I know that they're doing just fine. We've got a lot more sprouts coming up on top. So I'm pretty excited about the progress on these ones. Now that I've shown you a pretty good look at them, let me go ahead and take a few minutes now and talk about how to care for your citrus plants. So I mentioned it with the lemon trees. I will tell you that I do need to get bigger pots for these, and like I said, I will get them repotted here in the next episode. But for container grown citrus, you definitely want to make sure that they get 8 to 12 hours of sunlight every single day. Citrus loves the heat as long as it's not scalding, burning sunlight. But if they can get 8 to 12 hours a day, you will definitely help them achieve a little bit faster growing rate than if they don't get to 8 to 12 hours of sunlight. The second thing is for the soil, you gotta make sure that you have good drainage here. Now these pots have big holes all around the sides as well as holes down below. You also wanna supplement your citrus trees with a good citrus fertilizer. And we could talk more about that in the next episode when I get them repotted. But definitely want to make sure you are fertilizing your citrus trees. Because they're slow growers and heavy feeders, they do like a lot of nitrogen before they start flowering. And obviously you'll want to change that to a balanced fertilizer once they show that they might be getting some flowers on them. Another thing you want to make sure with citrus is you never want the soil to be completely dried out. You want to make sure that the soil is moderately moist, and at worst case scenario, more moist most of the time versus dried out. You can see my soil is moist on these. Do not let your soil dry out. For treatment of pests, it's pretty easy. Citrus has pretty strong leaves. You can use neem oil spray to treat any of the spider mites or other things that might be destroying your leaves. And if you get any mealy bugs, you can use a rubbing alcohol, which will kill those as well. Now that you've seen these 3 45 plus month old orange trees grown from seed, let me go ahead and take you over to the side of the yard where I have a few other orange trees that I planted a full rotting orange in a pot, and it's been growing for the last year. So in this pot, I planted a couple of rotting oranges, and we had several sprouts grow. I actually left these guys right here underneath this tree over the winter. And even though the winter frost did do some damage to them, they survived. They did really well. I was surprised. I was just trying to experiment with these to see if they could handle a winter frost, and they did. There's several in here. I even thinned out some of them that were over here, which I put over here. Now these were the ones that were closest to the frost without having any frost protection from this tree right here. So they became the most frost impacted. But they are coming back, as you can see, barely. But yeah, the frost just destroyed, and the wind just destroyed some of the foliage. I put these in a separate pot under some protection just to see how they do. But I'm super excited because we have several more orange trees, or orange plants I should say at this point, that were grown from seed. All I really did, like I said, was take 2 oranges, stuck them in the pot, and let them do their thing. Crazy, crazy. Anyway, I wanted to give you an update on these guys as a side experiment. Now let me show you the other 2 that have been in the ground for a year and a half in my flower bed. So over here we have 2 more orange trees grown from seed. Put these directly into the flower bed. There's one right here, and he did well over the winter because we have a raspberry bush that's gone crazy, and it provided some frost protection to him, as well as a second one down there. Not doing as well. He doesn't get the 8 to 12 hours of sunlight because of the amount of foliage on this tree, if you will. And so because of that, he's been slow growing. But I do have 2 more orange trees grown from seed in a flower bed, and I've left them there and I've never relocated them at all. So I'm happy to say those seem to be doing good. They do get some frost protection. They also get less sunlight, which is probably why they're growing a little slower. Well, there you have it, everyone. That's my citrus tree update for you today. Again, 45 months old, just over 45 months old. And we have 2 trees that were grown from lemon seeds, and several, especially these 3 behind me, grown from orange seeds. I'm curious to see if they get any flowers this year, although I doubt it, but definitely excited to see how they progress over the next year. And maybe if they don't get flowers this year, we'll get some flowers next year. We'll see. In the next episode, I will definitely have them in bigger pots, and we'll talk about the fertilizer that I'm going to use. Hopefully you're enjoying this Citrus Trees Grown from Seed series. If you are, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy gardening, and thanks for watching.